Take a walk down by the sea, picking up colored shells in the sand.
I'm leaving Georgetown, and I must admit there's a reason why they call this Chicken Harbor, because it is a difficult passage southeast of here. One of my buddy boats was trying to leave yesterday, and he had to turn around and come back because he just got a pounding. But I think the wind's going to be on a beam, or it's going to be a reach today, so I'm going to give it a try. Bye, Georgetown. Admit the water in the Exumas is absolutely amazing. Clarity is crystal. It's just, you have to come and see it. I really liked Staniel Key. That was some of the best clearest water that I've seen. The tide just comes in and out a lot, and so the boat was spinning a lot. But Georgetown was a bit on the cloudy side, and not actually what I expected. I was expecting more of a bigger city, and it turns out there's not much in Georgetown, and specifically where all the cruisers hang out, just west of the city, on these little islands like Elizabeth, Stocking. There's no roads, so there's not much service there. Anyways, time to leave. Well, today I'm on a close haul, and actually the seas are maybe only a foot high, so it's actually fairly comfortable, maybe 2 feet. And I'm doing about 6.5 knots, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm heading up to Long Island, a little anchorage called Calabash Bay, and we're gonna wait there. Probably gonna get there around 11:30 this morning. Decided to leave early. Once I get there, I'll wait until tomorrow morning. The winds are supposed to veer around, and that means that I'm going to get winds from either the southwest or maybe even westerlies. We'll see what happens during the rest of the day. Just looking at some of the weather forecasts, and it looks like it could get kind of squally and gusty tomorrow, so I'll be prepared with reefing, and if I don't catch this veering of wind, it's going to be very difficult to get to Turks and Caicos, so I'm going to ride this beast. A couple of boats heading back to Georgetown, I guess. Something here now. Well, there's not much traffic today. I just met a catamaran there about 5 minutes ago, and that's about the only thing that I've seen out here. I think there is maybe 2 other boats coming from Georgetown this morning. Petrol, who tried it yesterday, and he ended up turning around because the seas were right in his nose, wind was right on his nose, and he suspects he might have some problem with his rudder. So he's just going to check that out, and then hopefully he'll be coming out to the tip of Long Island today. Hopefully we can all head out south down the east coast of Long Island tomorrow. There's a couple of options, but the odd thing about what's happening tomorrow is there's wind going to be coming from the west or southwest, which is favorable for sailing south. However, the swell is going to be coming from the east, and a lot of the anchorages that we found are facing the east, so definitely don't want a huge swell coming into your anchorage. And so Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I really want to get a lot of the southing done tomorrow, southeast. You know, it's a long run to Maguana. There is some anchorages along the way, but some of them are sketchy in swelly conditions coming from Atlantic on the east coast. But I guess we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. We'll be looking at the weather. It's got a small barracuda. See if I can't let him go. Coming into Calabash Bay, gonna anchor here for the night. Well, the sun's about to go down. There's about 3 other boats here. We're all heading south tomorrow. Looks like a beautiful sunset. Well, it's Tuesday morning. Just heading to Clarence Town with another buddy boat called Tasman, and they're in the rear somewhere there. Calling for about 2 or 3 feet of swell today, but so far it's not too bad. But we haven't rounded the Cape yet, so we're heading down the east coast of Long Island down to Clarencetown. So far there's really no wind. It hasn't filled in yet. There's supposed to be some southwesterlies, and I do see some breaking waves off the point here, so I'll have to stay clear of that. One sailboat out in the distance on the Atlantic. No, 2 sailboats maybe. Hopefully we get a little more wind, because I don't really want to motor the whole way. I only carry 55 gallons on board. That's just enough to get me to barely enough to get me to Turks and Caicos. I did bring an extra 2 jerry cans just in case, but yesterday I sailed the entire way, so I did save some fuel that way, but it doesn't look too good. Today and tomorrow could potentially be a low wind day, but I don't know. The boat I'm with likes to cruise at about 6 knots, so by cruising at 6 knots I should burn a lot less fuel. Rounded the Cape of the tip of Long Island. The winds have not filled in yet. It's like 5 knots of wind. I tried sailing and was doing like 3 knots, so it's going to be motor sailing until the winds fill in a little bit, hopefully from the west, but it's probably going to be more southwesterly, so might end up motor sailing. Kind of looks like the swell is coming in from the southeast, so at least once I get running down Long Island, it won't be right on my nose. It won't be on my beam, so it's kind of like on an angle, so that might be just fine. Heading into some squalls. I reefed the main and rolled in most of the jib. Got the engine on right now just in case I have to bring down the main a little bit further. Hopefully I can get through this quickly. So I just went through 2 squalls. They were forecasting some squalls, but I looked at the Cape numbers and they didn't look to be too serious. So there was light squalls. I had gusts up to 25 knots, but mostly it was around 17. There was just a couple of, maybe 3 or 4 minutes of 25 knots, and this boat seemed to handle it quite well. I kept the wind angle at 120 degrees, so kind of sailing, keep kind of a broad reach, and that seemed to stabilize the boat, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. Got a little wet here. But yeah, so hopefully I think there might be still some more squalls ahead, but I got 10 more miles to go before an anchorage. Well, I made it into Clarencetown. It was quite the afternoon. The morning sail was just absolutely wonderful. It was calm. There was, 10, 12 knots of wind. I had speeds of anywhere from 6 to 7 knots. It was spectacular. Couldn't ask for a better sail. Then I looked up in front of me, and there are some squalls. So I could see some water coming from some of them, rain. So I immediately put one reef in the main, and then I rolled in the jib halfway. And yeah, I got hit by probably typically maybe 20 knots of wind, but it did actually gust up to 25, so I guess that wasn't too bad. But it was a miserable afternoon. And then as I started getting into Clarencetown, I was about 5 miles off Clarencetown, and the squalls were not letting up, and I think, oh, I don't think I want to go into this anchorage when we're getting hit by a squall. But I pointed into Clarencetown anyways, because the other option would have been sail all night and find another anchorage. So, and I would have got hit by more squalls, maybe. I'm not really sure because I don't have radar. Chris Parker did predict squalls today, so yeah, I definitely got them. I don't consider them strong squalls, but it was kind of a miserable afternoon because just rain and couldn't see much. Anyways, back to getting to Clarencetown. So there's a lot of boats here, and we're all exposed to the, well, we were exposed to the northwest, I guess it is. North, yeah, I think it's north, the north anyways. So there was some wind-driven waves coming in here, but that seems to have calmed down. So I think the anchorage is going to be fine. Now it looks like just the prevailing winds are coming from, kind of looks like westerlies. So, and I'm protected from the west because the marina is just right over there, so protected there. So, plan is just to get a good night's sleep and head maybe, I'm not sure which anchorage, just all depends on the weather. So I'll probably be checking the weather tonight and in the morning again, and then make a decision on what's the next anchorage. Don't really want to do like a 24-hour sail. It really tires you out. So if I can do you know, up to a 12-hour sail, that's enough. So stay tuned. So I just left Clarencetown. I'm actually by myself today. My buddy boat decided to wait back and wait for more favorable weather. What's happening is we thought we had a 3-day window to get to Turks and Caicos. However, the Saturday looks really, the wind has now got more of a southeasterly component, and it's going to be hard to sail into that. It actually was coming from 90 degrees true at a couple of the predictions earlier in the week, but now it's sort of shifted down to southeasterly, so that makes it hard to get from my iguana. So I decided to go it alone. There's a 2-day window, today and tomorrow. So if I start now, which I left at 8 o'clock in the morning, I can reach it there maybe by 9 or 10. Motoring, and there'll be some wind and apparently some strong squalls, but I did pretty good yesterday with one reef and the jib down, so I'm going to give that a try again today. I've actually put a hand line out, got roughly 100 feet of 200 pound line, and with a little bungee on the end, so to absorb any shock if I do get something big. If I get something big, I can't get it in, I'll have to cut the line, I suppose. But I would like to get at least one fish, because seriously, I haven't eaten that much fish in the Bahamas. When you do go to buy fish, it's extremely expensive. I couldn't believe it. It was $10 for this little, $15 for this little, looked like a 4 or 5 pound fish. So I thought it was quite expensive, and it was of course frozen. So yeah, I really like fish, so hopefully I can catch something edible besides barracuda. So what I did for my hand line, I just got this, this is paracord. This was recommended by somewhere on the internet, this paracord. Hopefully it's strong enough. But anyways, there's this bungee there with the paracord in the middle. So, you know, once the bungee stretches out, the paracord will take over. And then out there is roughly 100 feet of 200 pound line with a big lure on it. Kind of overcast today. Just got one reef in the main. Rainy, and there's squalls predicted here. Here's the Long Island, so Clarencetown is roughly over there somewhere. There is another anchorage down here that we thought about using, but if there's any northerly component to the wind, that could be problematic, and I don't want to get stuck in there for a couple of days. And I'm not really sure how. It's a small anchorage and there may be more boats there, so it's risky. It's a real chess game. That's why they call Georgetown Chicken Harbor, because it is difficult getting to Turks and Caicos from here. So this is what a small barracuda looks like. Well, the weather hasn't cleared up any, but at least the seas are fairly flat. Can't really ask for much smoother that you're sailing on the Atlantic Ocean, so when they're like this. Motoring is easy, and really there's not much headwind. I've got 9 knots apparent, and I'm doing 6 knots, so it's like 3 knots of wind. So there's hardly any wind right now, and that's fine. Hopefully it either veers or backs and gives me some wind so I can sail with. But I really don't need it. I've got enough fuel to get to Turks and Caicos. Luckily I've conserved most of my fuel from leaving Georgetown, so I had full tanks plus 2 extra 5-gallon cans. So yeah, fuel's not a problem. It's now it's just a matter of trying to stay awake for 24 hours. I've got a little timer on my cell phone, so that's typically what I do. Is I set a 15-minute timer and try and take little cat naps, and then just poke up and take a look around, check for ships and anything in the way, and check the course. I'm just looking over my passages south and looking at the notes for Sapodilia Bay in Turks and Caicos. So that's all interesting information, as well as, you know, if you've got the Explorer chart book, they show the various charts for Turks and Caicos. And look those over. So I think I'm going to check in here. So that is starting on page 78. So there is an anchorage right here on Provincialis, and apparently you can dinghy over here and then walk, or dinghy over here, check in there. But this anchorage is apparently rolly, and I have a feeling that the winds are going to be coming in this direction. Right now they might be coming in from here, but Saturday, and there might be a couple of days of wind in this direction, so I'm gonna try and find another anchorage. About 2 more hours to go before I reach the Turks and Caicos harbor, our entrance to the harbor anyways, from the southwest side. It's very hard drinking coffee this morning. I ran out of water, drained both tanks, and I don't know when I drained them, but I went to wash my hands this morning sometime, and I noticed there was low pressure in here. Yep, drain the tanks. So luckily I had some reserve water. I was able to make coffee this morning, just barely. The boat is just rocking and rolling. I got, I don't know, 4 or 5 foot waves on the beam, and yeah, it's quite rolly. I'm motoring because I got to get there. As soon as the sun comes up, the wind is going to start howling, so I need to get there soon. So apparently I will get to the entrance to the Caicos, or the Turks and Caicos, somewhere around 9, between 9 and 10. Oh, there's a big wave. Oh. Yeah, really rolly today. But got no choice. I gotta make it. I don't want to wait another week. was with some buddy boats, and their boats are slower, and they were hesitant about making any big jumps, which I understand. They may have a smaller, weaker motor. Hopefully mine's strong. And so they decided to just do small hops. Now, what's happening on Saturday and Sunday, even into Monday, the weather is going to get pretty bad. There's going to be some strong winds, and it'll be right in their nose, so it'll be a no-go anywhere for them. So they'll be holed up in some bay or something, some anchorage, and that's just no fun, especially in uncharted or uninhabited islands. There's just nothing there, nothing to do, and you're just waiting on a storm. So I mean, I had enough of that, so I'd like to get to some civilization, hopefully find some good cuisine. I didn't really find that in Georgetown. I guess I was unlucky. I didn't venture too far. I've heard of some good restaurants, but I never actually found them. So yeah, looking forward to some better food. Now I do have that mahi that I need to eat yet, so that'll be on the dinner plate soon. Process has been slow. I tried to speed things up. There's this website you can go to, I think it's called Sealight or something. You put all your information in there, boat, passengers, all the arrival and destination, on and on and on. And so I got into the customs office, and he said, oh no, we don't use that. And it's so that was a waste of time. So I fill out all the forms and paid the $50 entry, and it's $50 apparently to exit as well. And they did take my Bahama cruising permit, so I didn't check out of Bahamas. I just left, and that's what the Bahamian customs said I could do, is just leave. And so $50 to get in. Now I'm just waiting for immigration, and they're not going to be around for another hour, so I'm just going for a walk, kill some time. I noticed is, so far, the area I'm in is a freaking dust bowl. So dusty. Oh my goodness. At least it's civilization. Then they have roads. Unlike Georgetown, the roads actually look a little bit better in general. They're still driving on the wrong side of the road though, unfortunately. Well, slowly making some progress to Six Hill Keys. Right now we're doing about 5 knots. Sometimes we're down to 3.5 knots. We started out really wavy this morning. Left at 6:30. Now it's what? 1:30. You got about 3 more hours to go. I've actually never motored like this before. I suppose when I did the Gulfstream crossing, it was kind of similar, but man, we got wind right in the nose, 20 knots, or anyways, 15 to 20 knots, and you know, the waves are pretty good. I'd say 4 to 5 feet. Luckily, they're spaced far apart, so it's not too uncomfortable, but the boat was slamming. As soon as you try and bring it up to anything more over 5 knots, the boat just pounds. So I'm just going to get some shots of the boats that are following me. So I haven't checked out yet, so it's another $50 to check out. The plan is to, after we've anchored at Six Hills Key and take a rest, then it's over to South Caicos, and they have customs there, so I can check out there. And then once I've checked out, then it's over to Big Sand Key and wait till, I think Van Sant says 10 o'clock at night or something, and then do an overnight. You want to arrive in the DR before the sea breeze picks up. So, you know, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. If you wait any longer, then the wind just howls off the coast of the DR. So we'll be watching for that. So I don't actually have any paper charts for the rest of the Caribbean. I've just got the Explorer charts for Turks and Caicos and Bahamas. But I do have Navionics on my cell phone. The Navionics chip that I have for my chart plotter I don't have one for Caribbean. So what I did for a backup is I've got a tablet that also has Navionics installed on it. So in the event my cell phone breaks, then I can just use the tablet. That's Six Hills Key. What a motor. Wow. All day. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon. Finally arrived. And the odd thing that happened when I was going to throw the anchor down is the chain got caught in the bottom of the anchor locker. This was very strange. There was a bolt down there that the chain got hooked onto. Man, I hope that doesn't happen very often. Sometimes you need to anchor quick. Anyways, I managed to figure out what was going on and get that anchor down. It's peaceful here though. A little bit of chop, but it's going to be just fine. Heavy waves today. Must be 10-foot waves. It's crazy. Just clawing around, clawing our way up at about 3.5 knots right now. That was one hell of a ride. It was rough out there. We're talking 10-foot plus waves, 25 knots. It was crazy. It's one white knuckle ride. Coming out of that anchorage and then coming up to South Caicos. Wow, that was wicked. It was like 10-foot waves right in the nose. And then they were on the beam. And wow, the boat was just rolling around. But no, it just all turned out well. So now I'm gonna go, it's flattened out here now, and I'm just gonna go and anchor. friendly people, a lot of Haitians here, and it's hard to believe that their English is so well spoken. Amazing. Just, really, I just can't imagine leaving Haiti and coming here. There's so much hurricane damage from all the buildings, but I guess it's a better life than in Haiti.
Take a walk down by the sea, picking up colored shells in the sand.